What's going on, everybody? It's Kyle with DTOM Knives and Gear, and we are going to be doing the full review of the Tempest knives Mach 51, created by none other than our good friend Casey over at Knives Fast. Just got through doing, the unboxing a few days ago. I'm only supposed to have this knife for 4 to 5 days, so I've got to get this out of here, but I carried it basically ever since I've got it. It's not left my pocket throughout the house, and then I carried it one day at work. And Casey is, a YouTuber, and another YouTuber who has actually put his own knife design together, something that he really wanted to do. Got prototypes made, and now it's going around to the YouTube community, kind of getting a feel of what everybody thinks before he takes it to the Kickstarter campaign. And so I'm really excited for him. He's really done a great job. A lot of hard work goes into doing something like this. And of course, a lot of financial, it's just not easy and not cheap to get prototypes made of a knife. This one is made by QSP. This is one that he had make the prototypes and who he is going with through the production process when that happens. So, and I'm happy about that. I've had some QSPs on the channel, not a whole lot, but a lot of other like EMP EDC and stuff, and the some of the models that he has had come out has been made through QSP. And, they really do a good job. I cannot say that they're as good as Riot, because Riot is just the best of the best when it comes to overseas manufacturing. But QSP, Best Tech, those guys are really stepping up their game here lately. And QSP is one of the ones that is definitely doing that. And so I'm really excited about that. This knife, like I said, hasn't left my pocket. And as you can see, what are we working with here? We've got full tie handles, a tie backspacer, wire deep carry pocket clip. It is a frame lock running on bearings, and it's got an M390 blade. So right off the bat, you've got just a lot going for it as far as materials. These are premium materials. He wanted to do that. He wanted to get premium materials and keep it under a certain price point. We really don't know what the price point is going to be as of the moment. But from what I understand, him saying, he's trying to keep it between like $240, $250, something like that. If he can get it less, he will. But there's a lot that goes into this, especially smaller production runs. I believe he's doing 200 at first, but that is obviously might change depending on how the Kickstarter goes. I don't know how all that works. But it's going to be, a smaller run of knives. And so that makes a difference, right? It's always more expensive to get something produced when you have lower quantities, but it's his first knife design, and I think he did an excellent job. Now, there are stuff that he automatically told me whenever he sent the knife that he's going to do some tweaks to. So those things are the Lockbar access. So one of the things that I noticed whenever I was carrying this was the Lockbar. It does take a little bit of pressure to get out of the way. It falls and is super, super smooth on these bearings. They did an excellent job there. But yeah, the Lockbar pressure to get it out of the way is, it's a little snug. And as you can see, if I could show you, maybe there's a little bit of an area right there where it's kind of a cutout, but it's not cut out anywhere on the side. And so he's going to tweak that. Now, whether that means he's going to put something to make it a little bit more comfortable to get it to press out of the way, or if he's going to lower the cutouts to get less Lockbar pressure on it, I don't know. I think he is trying to decide that himself, get some, opinions and whatnot, and if he does that, I'm not a knife designer at all, so I don't really know. But if he does that, because it falls like that, and the Lockbar pressure, if it's a little bit less, will probably allow this thing to really drop. So maybe that will work. Maybe that's what he's wanting to go with. But as of right now, drops to your nail and then super smooth, just a few little shakes. This one did kind of move a little bit off center. It is just a hair to the show side. All T8 hardware, so I did take the Torx and I tightened up the pivot. It really wasn't that loose. It didn't like back up like crazy like some knives that I've had, but I just kind of re-centered it up, and then I went a little too tight with it, and I was like, okay, let me just back off, boop, just a hair, and then of course now it's back. It's still just like I said, just a tad bit off to the show side, but I don't care. It's not rubbing. As a matter of fact, it has plenty of clearance on each side. That's the reason I'm saying just a tad bit off that one side. You've got really good blade to handle ratio here on this guy. You've got a 3.5-inch blade with 8 inches overall. I was kind of concerned whenever he said he was making a knife. I was like, he don't like the bigger knives like me. But he made a full-size knife, and we'll do size comparisons and specs and everything here in a minute. But he made a full-size knife because, as you can see with my big hands, especially with this finger choil, plenty of room, very, very comfortable. If I do the backed up grip, it is barely enough for me to be able to get 4 fingers on it, but I'm able to get 4 fingers on it, and it's actually still very comfortable. It's just not near as comfortable as this right here. One of the other things that he talked about, as you can see where the plunge grind is, he's thinking about moving or extending the finger choil just a little bit, which I absolutely love. It gives me just more room for my big old fat sausagey fingers to help kind of alleviate that, so that might change. But other than that, those are the changes that he knows he might tweak. But other than that, that's about it. So what we have on this, and we'll get some closer shots, but we have this orange peel look all over these scales. You see that? It's a very heavy orange peel. Well, I've seen a lot of orange peel knives, and this is probably the most abrasive, abrupt orange peel on a knife that I've seen. And it does add a little bit of texture. It definitely makes it where the titanium is not smooth, like the aluminum here on the Spartan Payless. That's like as smooth as glass, and a lot of people don't like that. It does add enough texture to where you're not sliding anywhere, and that's probably on purpose because not only does the orange peel kind of look good, but it does add that little bit of texture. And let me see, this is a hand custom, so this is a Sean O'Connell, and you can see the orange peel there, and then the orange peel here. It's pretty close. You can definitely tell that this is more abrupt, kind of hard to kind of see on the on the camera here, but these are two very well done orange peel finishes on titanium scales. Love that. Go ahead and let you see that pivot right there. And if you look at that, this orange peel, of course, they put the hole in there for the pivot and for the hardware to go in, and then the orange peel. So what orange peel is basically them taking a wheel and heating up the titanium. It's a wheel that is polishing it, but not really. It's basically creating heat, and when titanium gets hot, it creates this orange peel look. And so, when you're looking at the pivot, it almost kind of looks a little rough in there, but it's not. You can kind of see. Yeah, I'm going ahead and doing close-ups now, huh? You can kind of see the same kind of deal going on all over it, where it just almost looks rough, but it's not rough. It doesn't feel rough at all. It just has that look because of the orange peel. Now, you also got this backspacer, which you can see Tempest prototype. This is one of 3 that he got. I think all of them are pretty much about the same when it comes to the detent and stuff. He has a video on that. Definitely go watch his video where he was looking at the detent and whatnot. And speaking of the detent on this is good. I like a stronger detent, but because of the deployment that you have on this, right there with the cockpit style pockets, because you have that, it's one of those, like, you don't necessarily need it to be too strong because you don't have a lot of room there, right? I was kind of worried about that, but it really turns out that flicking this thing out with the middle finger is actually very fun to do. I can even kind of get my pointer finger in there and do it, which is a little bit more challenging because you don't have a full hole or something to grab onto. But it definitely can be done. The thing I do have an issue with is I really can't do a thumb flick with it without kind of giving it some wrist. That's more, I guess, technique than it is really about the knife and about my hand size on where everything is going. That's probably what it is, but I would never do a thumb deployment. I just tried it over the time period. to see if I could get it to where it was more natural. It never did come to me that way. So it's always, I always had to do a little bit of wrist, and of course I'm trying to do it in front of the camera, a little bit of wrist to be able to get it out with my thumb. The detent, let's just kind of show you what happens here. See, it sucks the blade in, and whenever you're letting that thing fall, no bouncing, nothing like that. It sucks the blade in and keeps it in, and I really like that. I really am very curious what he's going to do about the lock bar, because flicking and dropping this thing, the lock bar, it actually hurts my eye. Oh, damn it! It cut him, and it cut Big Red EDC, and I hadn't cut me once. And then, of course, I just did it. Of course. I was going to pride myself, but like, ha, it didn't cut me. But it did. And it's because, really, I'm trying to figure out where to actually put my thumb to get the lock bar out of the way. So when he makes those changes, that will definitely be different, because I find myself trying to go up and down the lock bar to let it drop, but also to make it more comfortable. And it's just a little bit too much pressure. And of course, speaking of that, you see how short that is? So I think that might be something that he's thinking about doing, is actually putting the relief cuts for the lock bar further back this way. I think that will help with that. And then there's that what I was talking about with the orange peel. They orange peeled everything right in there, and there is the that kind of rough, almost hand done finish that you have on this knife, which it is hand done. I don't think you can, I guess you could put it on some kind of a machine to make that happen, but it's not like it would be a very good process. The orange peel, to me, I think is done by hand over at QSP, and they did a good job. So yeah, there's nothing really wrong with that. So the blade, it cuts, right? It's a knife. It's got to have a blade. There is your blade. It has this really polished satin on it. And as you can see right there, come on, camera, you piece of shit. As you can see, it is a fingerprint magnet. Like, it's very hard to keep this blade clean because of that, almost polished satin finish. You can definitely see the grind lines, and the grind lines look great. You got grind lines going this way up here on the flat portion. Then you have a swedge, and you have grind lines going this way for the main bevel. And it is an attractive spear point looking blade with this cockpit. This was modeled after, this is the Mach 51, and the P51 Mustang, I think, is what I was told, because I couldn't remember what it was on the original unboxing. P51 Mustang, which is probably why I was saying Mach 1 a lot too, and not Mach 51, because when I hear Mustang, I think of the Mach 1. That was my car, man. Oh, my dream car back whenever I was growing up. Which I didn't grow up in the 60s and 70s when the Mach 1 was out, but I had a 67 Mustang and a 68 Camaro. I was all into classic cars back then. So I can appreciate his, his design elements, which especially with this particular pivot design and then this cockpit, it just looks like it's moving when it's sitting still. And I think that's what he was going for. I think he did a good job with that. One absolutely superb thing that this knife does is the carry. The carry on this knife, it carries about as well as any knife that than any knife that I have had on the channel as far as that, because it's relatively still thin this way, and we'll kind of compare that when we do size comparisons and whatnot about the width this way. But the wire pocket clip works amazing in and out of pocket, sits deep carry just like you would expect, and tilts the knife in a certain way to where you just don't notice it in your pocket at all. Another thing that contributes to that is the weight. This thing is like, okay, so the website says 3.49. He had, whenever he did his original video with these three knives, I think two of them did like 3.49. One of them was like 3.53. We'll do my scale and just see what I get. But yeah, 3.5 ounce knife, mainly to do with those, because of the cutouts that you can see right there, which is an awesome move. Like I I would really be surprised, or would have been surprised, if he didn't do that, because Casey is, he's EDC knife guy. He wants it to be as lightweight as possible, but yet sturdy. He uses materials such as full tie to give you the sturdiness, and it definitely feels that way. It is locked up solid. The lockup on this thing, they did a great job with the geometry. The lockup is, I don't know, 25-30%. Who really can see that with their eyeballs, right? But it looks like exactly where it needs to be as far as the lockup, and there is no movement when this thing locks up. And speaking of lockup, I do like the way it sounds. You hear that? I love it. And then, of course, let's say if I wanted to slow roll it, it's a very good sounding lockup on a frame lock. I just dig that. Gets my juices flowing. And yeah, this thing was a very good, very enjoyable knife to carry over these last 4 days or so. And I right-handed, right? So this knife works perfect for the reverse flick right-handed. I can't do many knives left-handed. This one is one of the ones where left-handed for me is difficult, which is difficult for me anyway because I'm not left-handed. I don't usually do it. But I sometimes try to do it more so now because I'm friends with Lefty EDC. I'm always like, hey, how would it be? So, and Lefty is getting this next. So definitely stay tuned. I'm going to be sending this out to Lefty EDC, and he's going to be putting his 2 cents in on this. And, the pocket clip is reversible, so lefties rejoice there. That's awesome with a wire pocket clip. And then I want to mention that Casey did order a Lynch deep carry pocket clip that does fit. I guess it's for some Spydercos with the wire clip. It does fit. It does stick out just a little bit, that loop over. It's a little bit high when he sent pictures of it, but it will fit. If people, a lot of people just love those Lynch clips, and you can put one of those on this, which is very cool. It's cool that you just have options. And speaking of options, one of the reasons that he went with this full, just blasted tie handles and titanium hardware with this kind of, I don't know what the word is. What's that word? Where it's just all kind of one color. But he did that on purpose. And one of the reasons that he did that is because, dude, like everybody is modding their stuff. To be able to anno titanium, you can do it at your house with regular household items. And there's plenty of YouTube videos out there showing you how to do that. Of course, if it was me, I would send it to the knife modders to have them do it because they just do a great job. But then there's also other people, OCD for EDC does it. BJ Hill, Hilltop Knife and Gear. There's a lot of people that do it. I just like the knife modders because they're awesome. And but yeah, that's why he did it like this, is because you could make this your own with the colors of the titanium hardware and the scales. The sky's the limit. Right? I mean, the sky's really the limit. The knife modders, this would be a great platform for their, if you don't like the orange peel, this would be a great platform for this bark pattern that they do over the knife modders. Go check them out on Instagram. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's fucking sexy. Woo! This would be a perfect knife for that. Yeah. See, and I just kind of thought of that. Oh my God, that would be sweet. But that was the reason he did it, and I'm really glad that he did, because people like to do that stuff with their knives more and more now, especially. So the blade, like I said, spear point with this swedge, cockpit style. This I didn't find. Sometimes with a hole or with a slot, you find that sometimes it kind of snags when you're cutting. I didn't find that to be the case. The only thing I've cut with this thing has been cardboard boxes and stuff like that. And I'm going to show you just right now. It slices through cardboard like it's supposed to. I mean, it's almost effortless, and the reason that's the case is because it's only 125 thousandths thick on the blade stock, and you have about 20 thousandths behind the edge. It's got really good blade geometry. Now, it does get a little thicker to the edge. It ranges from 20 thousandths to about 24 thousandths out here on the tip, which is not uncommon. But I was really, really pleased with the way that it cuts. And one of the reasons, it's not just blade geometry, it's also how you hold the knife. And this thing is so ergonomic in the hand that I feel like I could cut with it all day and not feel anything. No fatigue, no nothing. That wire pocket clip is perfect for no hot spots. There's nothing poking me, nothing like that. It's a very comfortable knife to use, and of course that's why he made it. He wanted a knife that had the design element that he wanted, but he wanted it to be functional, something that somebody could put in their pocket for the rest of their life and cut and use it as a tool. And I think he nailed it. Now, not everybody might like the aesthetics of the knife. Not many people might like, or many people might not even like the actual cutouts themselves to kind of look like the cockpit. But I'm telling you, I've got nothing but great experiences whenever I pulled this out of my pocket and was showing people, knife people, non-knife people. They really dug the way that it looked. Now, I will say this is probably not a knife for a non-knife guy, right? Because of the way that it falls down, you have to make sure that you get your finger in the right spot and go away. And then, of course, if you're not used to doing the reverse flick, this would be kind of problematic, possibly for somebody's first, middle finger flick knife. But this is for the knife enthusiast, which is what Casey is. He is a knife enthusiast, a knife collector, and has been reviewing knives for quite a while now. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he wanted, and he did it. And so I'm freaking proud of him is what I am. I really, really am proud of what he's done. Another thing I wanted to show you is where this, oh, come on now. Come on, you bastard. You see the chamfering? Oh my God, come on. See the chamfering on the top of this blade? All the way down, no jimping, but in this backed up grip, the choked up grip rather, I can be right here and be comfortable, which is on this little thumb ramp, which is better than a Spyderco. I'll show you when to do that. Or I can put my thumb right up here, and it's so nice. It doesn't have jimping or anything. It's very smooth, knocked down, very comfortable to choke up and get behind the knife. And then, of course, back here, if I'm in the very backed up grip where I'm a little cramped because of my hand size, but it's really, really nice compared to the Spyderco. Like, if you have a ramp here, this is much better than the Spyderco. In my opinion, when it comes to comfort on how much this raises up, and there's the fact that there's really sharp jimping on where the Spyderco is, which I don't mind. I actually like it. It does provide grip. Don't get me wrong, but I feel so locked into this blade. I don't need jimping. I don't feel like I need jimping to keep me locked into the blade. And so I'm very happy that he kept that off. I think it would take away from the aesthetics of the knife if there was jimping on there. And the fact that you're locked in, you don't need it. So let's go ahead, flip the camera around. We'll get some more close-ups of this bad boy. And I'm going to put it up against some other staples of EDC knives that I consider to be basic size, full size, EDC knives, to give you an kind of a side-by-side comparison of what this thing looks like with those knives and things that this has that some of those don't have. So let's do that. Alrighty, let's go ahead. I've shown you some close-ups. See if I can get this thing to focus a little bit better. There you go. So you see that orange peel, and then you kind of see maybe some swirls or something. Those happen if your hands are moist or whatever, or if it gets like up against something. But as you can see, once you do that, it kind of goes away. Dead gum camera. But yep, there is that really cool pivot. Look at that. I really like that design. It just looks sexy. There's tooling on only one side, which means captive pivot. Well done, sir. We love that. All T8 hardware for your Lockbar insert, your pivot, your body screw, and that. Of course, that is what a knife enthusiast would do because we like T8s. We don't like T6s. And I really didn't put the actual bit itself, except for in here and in here. I didn't put a bit, but they all look the same, and they're T8. So there is the sexiness, which is the Mach 51. Get your good close there, and then on this side, with that wonderfully done pocket clip. I mean, some people are like, I want a 3D mill pocket clip. I just don't. The gun Nair that I pre-ordered from Renegade EDC, another YouTuber who made his own knife design and did a pre-order and all that. I ordered it, but he had an option for a wire pocket clip 3D and a 3D mill pocket clip. I ordered a wire pocket clip. It just works, man. It just fucking works. There's your only only branding or only insignia right now is the M390. There's nothing on this side. It's very, that might change. The Tempest knife's logo. Let's see if I can't put a picture right here of the logo. Oh wait, where's my stickers? I don't need to do that. What did I do with my stickers? Dang it. All right, well, hold on, because the box that came with has the stickers. I think I put them in my box. I've got a lot of work going on in my house, and so I've got some stuff that sits right here next to my little area, and then some that that goes in my little closet. But there is the logo for Tempest knives. I think that's a really cool logo. I like the font. And so, you know, whenever this comes out, that logo will be on here somewhere, right? We just don't know exactly where. But he pretty much likes a blank canvas. So it might be on the inside. I think this was really supposed to be on the inside of the backspacer. But yeah, and I'm sure they'll be numbered and all that. See if we can get another look. See if I get a little light here. There is your lightning pockets, both sides done very well. And since I have that, before we do size comparison, let me go ahead and see what it checks on my scale as far as the weight. See what we got here. This is not a very high dollar, high tech thing. Right at 3.5. Yeah. So, yep. 3.5 ounces. And that's just a great weight for a 3.5-inch knife. You've got your ratios right there. 8 inches overall with a 3.5-inch blade. You got a 4.5-inch handle. 3.5 ounces. You get a blade thickness of 0.125 and 20 to 24 thousandths, depending on where you check it. It's thinner here than it is up here. But yeah, that high saber grind with that switch, it really works as far as the cutting geometry, okay? And then, like I said, if he does bring this out here to kind of, mess with where this plunge grind is, it's just going to be even better for me. But as you can see, even with my big fingers and really choking up there, I still have plenty of room. So even if that is not the case and he does something different, it's not going to be a problem. There it is in the circle. And let's put it up against some staples, right? Let's go ahead and put it up against the PM2. Big-oop. There it is against your PM2. Very, very similar knives. As far as the overall length, you've got a little bit of a shorter blade. And this is what I was talking about as far as that ramp. I like it way better on the Mach 51 than I do here. It's just too abrupt on the Spyderco. Now, I'm used to it. But if I do choke up, this is not comfortable. If I choke up and want to really get behind the blade, not comfortable at all because of the way that is. So I never get to do that grip with the PM2. Not the case with the Mach 51. I can put my thumb right there, really getting bear down. So I like that. Now, and also with the PM2 and with most of these other knives, so go ahead and put the other one out here. Here is the Atom. Now, with the Atom, you can get an abundance of different scales, but the ones that really come standard on this are flat. And these are flat. This is contoured titanium, so it feels the hand really, really well, even though it's thin this way. It's almost too thin for my hands, but it's not, and it's really due because of the contouring of the handle. Contoured handles always fill the hand out more and just feel way more comfortable, and I can cut longer with them. And even though this is an ergonomic knife, the fact that it's not contoured, I feel it when I cut longer times, whatever that term is, when I have something flat than I do contoured. Very, very nice touch, and I really, really like that Casey did that. But as you can see, this is a very good comparison as far as the overall size, the blade length between the PM2, the TRM Atom. It's just that really good, full-size, perfect EDC size that we all enjoy and love. This is also another great EDC knife, but it is a little bit shorter. You got a smaller blade and handle on the on this Leon Mach Field Duty EDC, but you have a wonderful finger shoal here, done just a little bit different than on the Mach 51. But both of them ergonomic. This one has definitely got just a little bit more of a swoop. This is way more neutral, but both of these feel so freaking comfortable. The only thing I could say that the Mach 51 has over the Leon Mach as far as the ergonomics is you feel a little bit more locked in because of the way this one is versus the way that one is. Your finger is kind of locked into position where you don't feel like you're going to slide back up here. Definitely not the case when you're in the backed up grip. It's about the same then. But I just never used it because that just, if you have a finger troll, man, use the damn finger troll. Like seriously, but those are your size comparisons, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. This prototype. There are changes that are going to be made. Stay tuned and go check out Casey over at Knives Fast, Tempest Knives on Instagram and the website. All of that stuff will be listed down below so you can stay updated with the progress of where this knife is going. I'm sending it to Lefty EDC, and then he will send it to another reviewer and another reviewer. And then once all is kind of going around, the name gets out there, that Kickstarter campaign will come around. We'll get a final price on these guys and get more information on some of the changes that he has decided to do and maybe more details about that. And yeah, I really can't wait. I just can't wait. I really appreciate you, Casey. You are a friend and a really good friend for allowing me to be one of the first to check this out. And I really couldn't be happier and more proud of you, good sir, for the job that you've done with the Tempest Knives Mach 51. Guys, remember, fuck YouTube and Google. And stay safe in this absolutely crazy world that we are living in. And we will see you in the next one.